Hello, everyone. Thank you for the invitation, CallStack. This is my very first talk ever. I haven't even done local talks, so it's kind of crazy that I'm here. Thank you. So I just want to share this nice picture of myself. I have been using React Native for about two or 3 years. And yeah, I've been working on this project, this personal project of mine, so I have to give you some context. I hate saying this, but I'm actually like a professional esports player. I play a fighting game called Tekken, and I wanted to make an app that would help people learn how to play that game at a professional level, so it would give them the competitive advantage over their opponents. I have over 20,000 users. And that's just from beta testing for almost a year, which was way too long. So I had to tell you that because the app is called T7 Chicken, so you're going to see chickens and stuff. I didn't want y'all to be confused. I want to give some context there. So let's start off with a brief list of things that suck. In no particular order, drinking orange juice after brushing your teeth. I don't know if anyone's accidentally done that before, but it's really awful. The way Game of Thrones ended, that was really bad. I don't have to say much there. And then last but not least, deploying React Native apps manually. If you're smarter than me, you probably have never gone through this. I don't make the best decisions all the time, and this is why I'm doing this talk, just in case you suffer from the same thing too. So I also have a list of things that suck about deploying things manually. Unfortunately, this is a lightning talk. I don't really have time to go over it. But if anyone wants to catch up with me later, grab some drinks and go over this list with me, I'd be very grateful. So one solution that you can use is Fastlane. Fastlane is some really good stuff. It helps automate tedious processes, handle code signing. You can use it to actually go from beta to full release, and it's flexible. It works with any CI tool out there. However, I am still too lazy for Fastlane. And so enter App Center. And just to be clear, Fastlane's some really good stuff. Just because you use App Center doesn't mean you shouldn't use Fastlane. In fact, App Center uses Fastlane under the hood, so that's something to keep in mind. So what does App Center do? So I think the main thing is continuous integration. They allow you to do a lot of testing on hundreds of different devices virtually. It comes with analytics. You can do push notifications and live updates. Code push was actually some really cool stuff I'll talk about later. All under one roof. So the first thing I want to show you is from the on the left side menu, there's a distribute drop down. So this is a really different way of sort of testing apps, sometimes committing to the whole official processes through Google Play or Test Flight. It's a little much sometimes. Sometimes you just want to do a quick and dirty test of whatever you're working on, send it to some people. So App Center has its own little system for that. You can create groups where you upload an IPA or APK file, throw in some notes, tell the users what you want them to test, and then they can actually start downloading the app, and you can see any crash analytics and stuff like that. I thought it was cool to show this. Just because I've used this myself just to test apps by myself before I even send it to other people. Of course, when you work on your React Native project for a while and things start getting a little serious, you can start deploying to the more official processes. So as you can see here, I've got all these groups in test flight. My designer, his name is Ray. He's the only person in that group. I've got a beta testers group, App Store Connect users, and then there's the production release at the very top, which I actually went to do the full production release this week. I'm still going through that process where you get denied by Apple every other day. So from here, you can see a history of the releases you've done. There's a button in the top right that says Publish to Test Flight, which more or less has the interface that I showed earlier where you could upload an IPA or APK or whatever. And then there's also Code Push, which is actually really cool. Code Push is some cloud service that allows you to make updates to the JavaScript parts of your React Native project. It's really convenient sometimes. There might be a bug or the app is crashing just because of something on the client side. And you can actually release like a quick fix for your users in the meantime while you get something a little more thorough passed into your next version. And you can see you can control a lot. You can make the updates mandatory. You can enable or disable them at any time. And you can see how many active devices you've got going. And so basically, here's the meat and potatoes of the deployment aspect of App Center. You can integrate it with your GitHub repo. It's a really easy config thing going. Once that's up and running, then you have access to a whole configure menu for your branches. And so that's what this is. So you have tons of options. You can use some build scripts before the actual build itself. You can tell it when to build, the build frequency between build this branch on every push, which is really fun at first until it's not. You can choose to manually choose when those builds run. You have an option of getting your apps pushed out as Android app bundles versus APKs. Auto increment version is like my favorite because I always forget to do that. You can use a build format, timestamp. You can run unit tests. Please don't judge me for having that checked off right now. I do have some tests in my app. And you can also lint the source code. As far as signing, the experience is pretty similar between both iOS and Android. I'm only showing screenshots of the Android side. You upload your key store file, throw in the password, and basically set it and forget it. That way you don't have to do like weird things like email your girlfriend your key store files and say, hey, don't delete this ever, and stuff like that. And then also the testing on the real device. I think they start off with like a 30-day free trial. Android, there's so many different devices, operating systems, like Samsung, and just so much to test there. And so you can actually, if you check that off, they actually will virtually spin up your apps for you and give you lots of data on like each iteration, as well as iPhone. It's just not as intense. As distributing builds, you can see on the left there's groups, and that's the App Center groups that I was talking about, where once you deploy to there, you get back a URL that you can share with people that you're inviting to test your app. Then there's the official processes, which is from store. If I were to click that drop down, you would see on Android. For Android, there would be alpha, beta, production, and for iOS, there would be any test flight groups I've created as well as production. And then you can get build status badges there. And so, man, I put no effort into this slide. But basically, that's it for the most part. App Center seems to be a continuously improving thing. Like they actually, maybe 4 or 5 months ago, they didn't even have analytics part of it. So it's exciting. It's very easy, straight to the point, exciting to see where it goes. But before I wrap this up, I just wanted to share a little bit about the organization that I work for. I work for a nonprofit in Boston called Resilient Coders. Our #1 goal is to close the opportunity gap between underrepresented people of color and the tech industry. This is actually a picture of the last cohort. It's a 14-week boot camp. We pay them to learn how to code, and they're full-stack engineers at the end. One of my favorite projects, somebody made an augmented reality tattoo web app where you just show like your arm in front of the camera, and then you end up getting, you could see what a tattoo would look like that's uploaded from like a tattoo artist or something. And she had no idea how to code 14 weeks before creating that. So I would appreciate it a lot if you followed Resilient Coders on Twitter. And oh yeah, you could also like follow me too. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Thank you for having me. You all have been great.